Yesterday, a manufacturing facility the size of, 70 football pitches, backed by like $15 billion in capital, just filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah, it's wild.
And then tomorrow, you have this startup operating out of what is basically a retrofitted shipping container, and they're using a 600-year-old printing press method that might just, render all those NASA facilities completely obsolete. So welcome to the deep dive.
Right. It is literally the ultimate industrial paradox. We spent the last decade convinced that the only way to transition the global energy grid was to build these massive, rigid, centralized factories.
The biggest in human history, honestly.
Exactly. And today, our mission is to completely move past the early stage debates. We're not asking if a new solid-state battery technology is, scientifically possible anymore.
No, we are totally past that. We're diving straight into the highly disruptive business dynamics that are currently validating this entirely new manufacturing paradigm.
Right. Because if you look at the evidence we've gathered, there's just one singular thesis. The battery revolution is not a chemistry problem anymore. It's a software and printing problem.
Yeah, which is a massive shift. So for you listening, here's what we're looking at today. We have a towering stack of breaking materials.
So much new stuff.
Yeah, including a highly anticipated March 12, 2026 interview with the CEO of Holyvolt. We've got leaked non-disclosure agreement supplements from March 2025 that honestly read like a corporate espionage thriller.
They really do. Plus, we've got these newly unearthed Reddit investigations mapping this whole decentralized network of technology licensees.
Right, entities like Swiss ACT, Digo Protect, Tranquillium. And we're also doing a deep synthesis of over 15 international engineering forums to see how the industry is reacting.
And of course, keeping in mind the underlying context of the latest VTT Technical Research Center data.
Exactly. So why should you care about all this?
Yeah.
Because you are literally watching the potential obsolescence of the multi-billion-dollar gigafactory model happen in real time.
It's happening right now.
Yeah. If you want to understand how a decentralized licensing model might upend the entire global supply chain, you are in the right place. Okay, let's unpack this. We have to start with the breaking news that shifts how we view the leadership here.
Right. So March 12, 2026, Mathias Ingvarsson, the CEO of Holyvolt, finally breaks his silence. He gives his first substantive public interview to Impact Loop and Loop.
Which is huge, because
Okay.
Holyvolt has operated in, total secrecy since they were founded in 2022.
Complete shadows.
Yeah.
And they quietly secured just staggering amounts of capital from Swedish industrial titans. We're talking Volvo and the Wallenberg family's FAM holding company.
Yeah, and you don't get Wallenberg money without surviving some microscopic due diligence.
Yeah.
But what's really striking here is Ingvarsson's background.
Oh, it's so funny.
Right, like if you were casting the CEO of a revolutionary solid-state energy company, you'd pick some PhD electrochemist who's been in an MIT clean room for 40 years.
Yeah, you definitely would.
But that is not Mathias Ingvarsson. He previously ran the European division of Tempur mattresses. He sold ski goggles.
And the underwear. Don't forget the underwear.
Oh my gosh, yes. He founded a company called Frigo, making specialized underwear, which was famously backed by the rapper 50 Cent.
On the surface, the legacy industry looks at that resume and they just laugh, right? They dismiss it as a punchline.
Sure.
But if you understand the business model they're actually executing, that background is highly revealing. It's honestly the exact optimal background for this.
Well, and I have to point out the wild coincidence here. Because the CEO of Donut Lab, Marco Littamäki, also has this deeply non-traditional background.
Yeah, he was a rapper.
Right. He went by the handle at Young Kasi and co-founded a tech company with PQG, another Finnish hip-hop artist. So the guys leading this global energy shift are a guy who made underwear with 50 Cent and a former Finnish rapper.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
But they aren't traditional academics, They are relentless, serial consumer product entrepreneurs.
And why does that matter so much?
Think about what a mattress company or an apparel brand actually is. It's an exercise in global supply chains, decentralized manufacturing, and licensing.
Right. You don't own the cotton fields or the chemical plants for the memory foam.
Exactly. You just need to know how to integrate proprietary materials into a highly scalable consumer product. Ingvarsson knows how to scale a physical product globally without owning the factories.
Makes total sense. And in this interview, he explicitly validates the manufacturing paradigm we've been tracking, almost word for word.
He really does. He states clearly that their technology is based on screen printing.
Yeah, he acknowledges it's a 600-year-old technology from the printing press, but he says, quote, very economically disruptive, it's cheap.
And he clarifies that cheap doesn't mean low quality. It means the iteration cycle is fundamentally altered. He's describing the structural advantage of a printer over a gigafactory.
Right, because with a traditional plant, you have to build multi-billion-dollar infrastructure first.
Massive dry rooms, miles of rollers, gigantic mixing vats. And you lock in your chemistry, like your NMC chemistry, before you even pour the concrete.
Yeah, and if you want to change it 2 years later, you have to retool $1 billion worth of hardware.
Exactly. But with screen printing, you just perfect a proprietary nanopaste ink. You load it into a modular machine that maybe costs 20 million euros.
Just swap the ink cartridge.
Literally, if you change your chemistry, you change the ink, you can iterate hour by hour.
And Ingvarsson also states Holyvolt's goal is to eliminate nickel and cobalt.
Yeah.
And notably, if you look at their patent, they explicitly exclude lithium.
Right, which mirrors the Donut Lab claims of a lithium-free architecture.
So this leads to him revealing their true strategic posture. He says they see themselves as a facilitator for scaling up, not a supplier.
Right, they don't want to build monolithic factories. They want to be the platform provider.
But wait, hold on. This is where the narrative hits a massive contradiction for me.
Okay, what is it?
Well, if this tech is so great, why does Ingvarsson use this exact same interview to announce that Holyvolt terminated its joint venture with the original creator, CT Coding?
Ah, right, the Holyvolt joint venture.
Yeah. He calls it a 6-month test and says they went a different direction. I mean, if I test drive a revolutionary car for 6 months and it defies physics, I don't return it to the dealer and say, thanks, I'm going to walk home and build my own.
That's a great analogy. But walking away from the joint venture was not a rejection of the technology.
It wasn't.
No, it was this aggressive, calculated divergence in vertical integration. And to understand it, we really have to follow the paper trail they left behind.
Okay, let's track it. We know they opened their Munich lab and founded the joint venture in October 2024.
Yes.
Then, according to their own 2024 annual report, just 1 month later in November, they signed a formal license agreement and an escrow agreement with their technology partner.
So they didn't walk away empty-handed. They formalized legal access to the core IP.
Right. They learned the fundamental mechanics, how the layers cure, the tolerances, the machines.
But then they recognized the actual bottleneck. The real recurring revenue model here isn't the printer. It's that proprietary nanopaste ink.
The razor and the blade.
Exactly. CT Coding spent 16 years empirically developing those paste chemistries, and Holyvolt realized, hey, we don't want to pay a perpetual toll to CT Coding for this ink forever.
So they make this massive strategic move. They acquired Wildcat Discovery Technologies.
Yep, for $73 million.
Which is a U.S.-based AI nanomaterials company founded by Professor Peter Schultz, the former CEO of Scripps.
And this is where that thesis of chemistry becoming a software problem really solidifies.
Because traditional chemistry is so slow, right? A PhD formulates a paste, coats a coin cell, cycles it for a month, tweaks the formula.
Right, it's agonizingly slow. But Wildcat uses high-throughput robotic screening and machine learning. They can simulate and test thousands of variations in hours.
Wow. So Holyvolt didn't reject the screen printing paradigm at all.
No, they decided they were capitalized enough to own the entire vertical stack. They took the printing press concept, and they bought an AI supercomputer to invent their own ink.
That reframes the entire exit. It was a hostile graduation, not a failure.
Exactly.
But then, during the interview, the journalist specifically asks Ingvarsson about rumors connecting Holyvolt to Donut Lab. And he just flat out says, quote, there's none whatsoever.
Which, legally speaking, is true. Holyvolt does not have a contract with Donut Lab.
Right.
But structurally, it's incredibly misleading. They are branches growing from the exact same root system.
And we know this for a fact because of this leaked NDA supplement from March 7, 2025.
Oh, this document is a masterclass in corporate legal firewalls.
It's crazy. It's between Next EcoCT Coding's licensing arm and Nordic Nano Group, or NNG. But Donut Lab is named 6 times in it.
Right. The architecture of the agreement is deeply intentional. NNG assumes total, unmitigated liability for any breaches in connection with Donut Lab.
And it explicitly states Donut Lab does not currently wish to sign an NDA.
Which is brilliant.
But wait, how is that physically possible? You're building a flagship motorcycle around this revolutionary battery, but you refuse to sign a confidentiality agreement with the inventor.
I know, it sounds nuts.
It's like trying to build a space shuttle, but you're only allowed to pass index cards to a lawyer who gives you yes or no answers about the schematics.
Right, but you have to think about black box integration. From an engineering standpoint, Verge Motorcycles doesn't need to know the atomic structure of the nanopaste.
I guess that's true.
They just need to know the volumetric energy density, the thermal output, and the physical dimensions. NNG acts as the translator.
So Donut Lab gets plausible deniability.
Absolute deniability. If the tech faces scrutiny, Donut Lab is completely insulated from the primary source. They get no written info, no data room access.
They are completely walled off, and the physical secrecy is just as intense. Section 3 outlines a meeting where all Donut Lab participants, naming founders Phil Pepo and Hayden Baker, had to agree to remove all phones, laptops, and smartwatches.
You don't initiate intelligence agency level confiscation protocols for a theoretical PowerPoint.
No, you do that when you have a physical functioning prototype that undeniably works, and you are terrified of industrial espionage.
Exactly. And this brings us back to Ingvarsson denying any relationship with Donut Lab, because there's a direct human connection too.
Robert Erdman.
Yep. Holyvolt's CTO and the co-inventor of their battery patent.
Erdman was physically present as an eyewitness at an April 2024 SGS cell test in Switzerland. He was watching CT Coating's cells being tested alongside CT Coating's founder.
So Ingvarsson's own chief technology officer evaluated the exact same foundation Donut Lab is building on. The shared DNA is just undeniable.
So Holyvolt took the platform, bought an AI firm, and tried to build their own ecosystem. What did CT Coating do when they lost this massive Volvo-backed partner? Did they just collapse?
No, they did the exact opposite. They went global. They fractalized.
And we have to credit the Reddit community for figuring this out in March 2026. They mapped this sprawling, decentralized, hub-and-spoke licensing model,
which is so much more resilient. They uncovered all these independent entities marketing CT Coating's technology.
Yeah, we've got Swiss ACT AG, founded in August 2023. We have Digo Protect GmbH as a coding partner, and Digo Protect Limited in Hong Kong, founded in June 2025.
And look at the timeline there. Swiss ACT was founded before the Holyvolt joint venture even started.
Wow.
And Digo Protect Limited was founded right after Holyvolt exited. CT Coating was already executing this multi-partner strategy. If one spoke breaks, the hub just keeps spinning.
And Digo Protect's Chinese website actually gave us a first-party diagram of the battery stack. It showed a dense anode, a solid separator, a dense cathode, and a bipolar current collector.
That bipolar architecture is the key that validates how it all works. I mean, without getting too bogged down in the physics, it basically means the current flows through ultra-thin layers instead of traveling along massive rolls of foil.
Right, which kills the internal resistance and stops it from overheating during fast charging.
Exactly. And the power of this hub-and-spoke model is that all these partners are completely isolated.
Yeah, Donut Labs' Marco said he had no prior relationship with Santa Energy, another partner. Ingvarsson denies knowing Donut Lab. They aren't colluding.
Which is the strongest possible validation. You have multiple independent companies in different countries separately evaluating this proprietary technology and betting their futures on it.
It's exponentially stronger evidence than one coordinated PR campaign.
Exactly.
And then there's Tranquillium in the US, marketing it with claims pushing the limits of physics. Like 560 watt-hours per kilogram and 500,000 cycles.
Which is naturally inflated because they're a commercial broker selling the theoretical limits, whereas Donut Lab is selling a constrained, warranted motorcycle.
Right. But this brings up the loudest critique we see online. The forums look at these companies and scream, "There are no battery PhDs on the executive team. How can former rappers and mattress guys solve material science?"
It's such a fundamental misunderstanding of how a distributed licensing model works. They are looking for the scientists in the completely wrong building.
Yeah, let's reframe that expertise architecture. The hub is CT Coating. That's where the chemistry expertise lives.
Right, 16 years of empirical bench chemistry. That's your PhD wing.
And then you have Nordic Nano, bringing nanomaterials expertise. You have Sana and Tranquillium as commercial translators.
And at the application layer, you have Verge Motorcycles and Donut Lab,
where they literally have Mika Häkkinen, the two-time Formula One world champion, on the board, and former McLaren and Aston Martin executives.
Which completely changes the engineering context.
You don't need an electrochemist to build a superbike. You need an F1 grade application engineer who knows what happens to a battery pack when a rider hits a high G corner at 150 miles per hour.
Exactly. F1 culture demands hard telemetry. They don't accept vaporware. Their validation is massive.
And this specific division of labor is why the Gigafactory model is in so much trouble.
It's an existential threat.
I mean, a modular containerized printing line costs roughly 20 million euros. Meanwhile, Northvolt just declared bankruptcy with $5.8 billion in debt.
Yep.
Nature Energy was liquidated. ACC is shelving gigafactory plans across Europe.
The traditional model is just too brittle. You sink billions into concrete and custom machinery before you even make a cell. And then you hit what Ingvarsson called the valley of death, trying to scale it.
But with this, you solve the chemistry first, and then scaling is just buying more 20 million euro printers.
Right.
So if you're a legacy automaker who just approved a $2 billion gigafactory, you have to be sweating.
You're terrified. And that institutional resistance explains the intense, almost visceral reaction from the engineering community online.
Oh man, we have to talk about the forums. Because we synthesized data from over 15 international forums.
EVblog, Inders, Hackaday, Neurologica, DIY Solar.
Yeah, Speak EV, the LNR forums, aviation forums, plus media in China, Japan, and Germany. We looked at roughly 2,500 individual posts.
And we saw the exact same sociological pattern everywhere. It's the presumption problem.
Out of 2,500 posts, there were exactly 6 pieces of genuine original technical research. Just 6.
Like the user on EEblog who figured out the ENAC sodium-potassium chemistry.
Or the Inderis users who traced the CT coding corporate links. That was amazing sleuthing. But the overwhelming majority of the discourse starts from an immovable presumption. This is a fraud.
Right, and they work backwards to fit the data into that narrative. On EEVblog, the moderators literally filed the discussion under dodgy technology before anyone even started analyzing the data.
The verdict preceded the trial. And look at Neurologiblog. They published an analysis on January 13 comparing the company to Theranos.
Which, honestly, was a fair comparison at the time, given the wild claims.
Sure, skepticism is healthy. But they published it before any VTT testing data came out, before the CT coding network was mapped, and they never updated it.
Right, the analysis is just frozen in time, impervious to new evidence.
And SVLT's CEO goes on record calling it a scam that defies thermodynamics, while Chinese giants like BYD and CATL quietly accelerate their own solid-state timelines.
It's classic corporate defense. Publicly dismiss it to protect market share, privately race to catch up.
And on Inderes, the Finnish investors did great analysis, but they let investor panic over some leaked, clumsy fundraising letters drive the scam framing. They let bad marketing override third-party VTT data.
It's so interesting to compare that to the LENR forums, the cold fusion guys.
Yeah.
Because they're so used to paradigm resistance, they were actually the most open to objectively analyzing the screen-printed data.
The mainstream skepticism just constantly moves the goalposts. VTT proves fast charging, and the forums say, well, supercapacitors can fast charge.
So VTT proves thermal stability under load, and they say, well, what about energy density?
Then VTT proves self-discharge, killing the supercapacitor theory, and they pivot to, it's just a hidden NMC cell.
It's an unfalsifiable dismissal.
But, I mean, isn't it healthy for engineers to demand proof? We're talking about solving the battery trilemma.
Demanding proof is great. Ignoring it when it arrives is the problem. To maintain the coordinated deception theory today, you have to believe VTT, SGS, Holyvolt, Volvo, and independent licensees across 4 continents are all in on a synchronized global lie.
It's absurd. But, to be fair, the skeptics do have one valid point left.
Yes, they do.
The aviation forums nailed it. They said, show us independently verified watt-hours per kilogram, put it on a scale. The 400 white carriageway energy density and the 100,000 cycle life are still untested publicly.
And that demand for the missing metric is what brings us to the agonizing strategic calculus of right now.
Because today is Sunday, March 15th, 2026. Tomorrow is Monday. And for the last 3 weeks, Donut Lab has dropped a VTT bombshell exactly on Monday at 15:00.
It's a highly weaponized release schedule.
Week 1, the fast charge tests. Week 2, high-temp performance. Week 3, self-discharge. So everyone is asking, will there be a 4th report tomorrow?
And the community is desperate for the cold test, which would prove it works at negative 30 degrees Celsius.
If they prove that, it's game over. Or just put the cell on a scale to prove the energy density. It sounds so simple.
It does, but releasing that cold test data is strategically perilous.
How so?
Because the specific thermal degradation curves might reveal chemical signatures about the proprietary nanopaste, CT Coding has 8 other global partners. If Donut Lab leaks the secret recipe just to satisfy some internet trolls, they compromise the entire network's IP.
Plus, Donut Lab is legally restrained by that massive NDA firewall with NNG. If they publish data that breaches it, NNG gets destroyed in court.
Exactly. And you have to consider Holyvolt. Ingvarsson just denied any relationship with Donut Lab on Thursday.
Right. If Donut Lab drops data on Monday that undeniably links their underlying tech, it forces this highly secretive Wallenberg company into a public PR nightmare.
And looming over all of this is Verge Motorcycles. They ship their superbikes in April, next month.
You don't need internet controversy weeks before hardware delivery. You need quiet confidence.
So from a corporate strategy perspective, absolute silence tomorrow might be the smartest move. Let the Holyvolt validation breathe. Let the market realize the Gigafactory model is under threat. You don't need to win every Reddit battle.
That is going to make for an incredibly tense Monday afternoon.
So let's fall back and recap for a second. We started with isolated rumors. Now we have two completely independent ecosystems, one agile Finnish startup, one legacy Swedish industrial giant, validating the exact same screen-printed paradigm.
Right. While the forums argue about PhDs, Donut Lab is shipping motorcycles next month, and Holyvolt is targeting Q4.
The business reality has totally moved on from the debate. So why does this matter to you? Because innovation doesn't look like a clean corporate press release. It looks like messy NDAs, holding companies, and former mattress executives printing energy in shipping containers.
It really does. And think about this. Holyvolt spent $73 million on an AI company. If AI can simulate thousands of chemical combinations in hours, bypassing years of bench science, are we entering an era where the hardware bottleneck of gigafactories is totally bypassed by software?
That is the ultimate question to leave you with. What happens to the global energy grid when anyone with a 20 million euro printer and an AI subscription can manufacture massive storage in their backyard? Keep your eyes peeled for tomorrow at 15:00. Let's see if the pattern holds or if the silence speaks louder. Keep diving deep.